Well, hey everyone, Jay Whitner here with Kickstarter Coaching and our video program Crowdfunding Coverage. If you haven't seen our show before, we try to keep it to about 10 minutes in length. So let's get started right away with January of 2014. There's interesting news on both IndieGoGo and Kickstarter in January. There were 13 major campaigns in the month, all of which brought in over $300,000. Collectively, those big campaigns brought in almost $10 million. The largest campaign was an IndieGoGo campaign called Tame that we'll talk about later in our program. But first, some news. In 2013, Kickstarter had a banner year. Total pledges, $480 million. More pledges than all prior years combined, and along the way, they successfully funded about 20,000 projects. Congratulations to the whole team at Kickstarter. Keep up the great work. We don't often talk about teachers and education and their crowdfunding needs, but there was some news about more and more educators turning to crowdfunding, largely using the platform Donors Choose, which is targeted on teachers. It's a great platform. They have some unique attributes. Don't forget, if you're a teacher, that you can also use other platforms, not only Kickstarter and IndieGoGo, but others as well. Toward the end of January, we started seeing a few pieces in the media about the upcoming end of the SEC comment period for equity crowdfunding. The final day for comments is February 3rd, so hopefully we'll have interesting news and good news in February and March on the equity crowdfunding front. It was a very big month for IndieGoGo. Not only did they have a strong month as a platform, lots of good campaigns on IndieGoGo. The two biggest campaigns of the month were actually on IndieGoGo in January. But IndieGoGo got their own funding in January with a $40 million injection of capital, which is the largest single infusion of money that any crowdfunding platform has ever gotten. IndieGoGo has a staff of just under 100 people. This will allow them to staff up. They have interest in expanding their international activity and having more mobile apps. So this funding will help them take a giant leap forward. So congrats to them as well. Over in Europe, in the UK, a new fund was announced that is an investment fund that invests in crowdfunding equity. Now this isn't in the US, but it's interesting in that it's a glimpse ahead and something the SEC should keep in mind as they make their regulations for crowdfunding. There should be liquidity for people who invest in crowdfunding equity. There should be mutual funds that invest in some of these equities. So as the SEC is crafting their regulation, hopefully they'll keep these future needs in mind. So what campaigns happened in January? Well, we'll talk about 8 of them. They ranged in size from $400,000 to over $1 million. The goals were $25,000 up to $200,000. The video length, there was a wide range of video. You'll see that the longest one was almost 6 minutes. I suggest you don't go that long. Stick to 2 or 3 minutes. You'll be better off. All of these campaigns put forth a significant number of updates. I don't know that 67 is needed, but that was what they did, the biggest campaign. In terms of how long they lasted, the range was from 30 days up to 90 days. On IndieGoGo, under certain circumstances, they can give you a green light to extend your campaigns. That must have been an IndieGoGo campaign that was 90 days. On the reward levels, they range from 10 different rewards up to 34. Be careful when you're setting your reward levels. They sound good when you're doing the campaign, but when you get down to the fulfillment stage, it's quite challenging if you have too complicated rewards. All of these creators, these were their first campaigns that they ran here in January, or they concluded in January, I should say. And the average creator had backed 4 campaigns themselves prior to launching their own. So what were the campaigns of the month itself? The first one is Mega Man. This is a game campaign. They brought in over $400,000. Some interesting things to point out, and it's not all that unusual for games to have a very large number of stretch goals and it's somewhat a complicated structure of all these stretch goals. You'll have to look at one of these to really kind of get the ins and outs. It takes too long to try to explain it to you, but very intricate structure. Also, some of these have a big international participation. So in this case, they had not only a premium when international shipping was required, but different premiums depending on what region of the world the backer was from. So you can look at that if you anticipate international participation in your campaign. The next campaign is called Neuron. This is for a sleep mask. They brought in almost $450,000. Some interesting things about their campaign were that they have the media coverage of their campaign. They have logos for the different media outlets that covered them. That's fairly normal. What was a little bit interesting is in their campaign, these are all clickable links, these different logos. So this is good and bad. It's good in that your backer, your potential backer, can go and see the good things that they said about you, but you're taking them away from your page and putting them on the other page. So consider for your own self whether you think this strategy is good or bad. Most people don't make those links be clickable. They also did a good job of covering the development history of their sleep mask. A lot of campaigns do this. They have sketches and timelines of who was involved and how they got the idea initially. This seems to have traction with the community. People like to see those things. Next, we have a movie that brought in over $600,000, which is pretty amazing. One unique aspect of this particular campaign was one of the rewards was to have a screening in 2 cities, and the way the cities would be selected was by backer vote. So this is an example of engaging the backer community, letting them be a part of the project, and their wishes, their decisions matter in terms of either the project itself or the rewards. Next, we have the Thing Charger. Very cool idea. This is a thing that fits right over your electrical outlets and looks like the electrical outlet that it is covered up. But on the top of the device are different fittings for different phones and iPads and stuff to be charged using the device. They had some good user validation in their video. They had in the video itself imagery of people looking at the device, talking about the device, how cool it was. That's good to have in your campaign. They did some of the old-time sales things in their campaign. They don't really see all that often, but they're effective and they're good. They have buy 2, get 1 free, that kind of stuff is in their campaign. How many units do you need? Do you need one of these chargers in the kitchen and one in the bedroom or whatever? They also mentioned that their device is going to be UL certified, which I don't recall seeing in other campaigns. It's probably a good idea, though. And it looks like it's a very good, very practical invention. Can't wait to see one of those out in the real world. Next, we have a campaign called Circuit Scribe, brought in almost $700,000. This is a campaign that you can learn about electronics and circuitry by using a pen that you just draw on like a piece of paper, and in effect the ink of the pen connects everything electrically. Pretty neat idea. Some of the unique ideas of the campaign itself, though, were gifts. You've seen these online. They're sort of in between an image and a movie, like little mini movie kind of things. But they use those to good effect to show the way some of these things work. They also had gift certificates, which you don't often see in campaigns. This, again, could have a relationship to what time of the year your campaign is running. If it's a holiday kind of a campaign, that might be of interest to you. They also had different levels of these kits with different amounts of things in each kit, so there's different price points. And they had packs of 10 for classroom use. So if you wanted to do a presentation in your classroom or a series of lessons about electronics, you could have 10 of these kits, and maybe 2 kids could share each one or something as you went through the lesson. Next, we have a campaign about wristwatches. Brought in almost $700,000. Had numerous interesting things. One was star power. They had as a partner in their campaign William Shatner from Star Trek, and he was really integrated into the campaign quite well in that sometimes when you see these campaigns that have a star of some sort, you see just a few seconds of the star and that's it. In this campaign, he was mixed into it in various different places of the campaign. His signature is engraved on the back of the watches. One of the unique aspects is real asteroid dust sprinkled on the interior of the watch. And some other things too is watches are sometimes a more expensive item, so they had a layaway plan that they're using on their campaign. That one of their reward levels is in effect a deposit on layaway sort of. And last, they explained why they were doing crowdfunding, because it was going to let them offer their watches at a lower price. By cutting out all the middlemen, they can sell the watch at a lower amount to the customer. My favorite campaign, though, of January has to be the Power Up 3. This is not just a paper airplane, which would be fun. This is not just a paper airplane with an engine that would be more fun, or a paper airplane with an electrically powered engine, which would be even more fun. This is an electrically powered airplane that's remote controlled from your iPhone. How cool is that? What an amazing idea that they were able to make this thing. Really fun. Their video had some good humor in it, which is always a nice thing if you can carry that off. Again, this campaign had some gifts in the campaign, which were used well to explain and show different things, and really neat stretch goals. They had one stretch goal that they reached that was to have sort of duels, aerial combat between two of the airplanes. They reached that goal. There was another goal they did not quite make. It was at $2 million, that all these paper airplanes would have little video cameras inside to record your dogfights and stuff. So maybe that'll be next year. What they come up with next. Pretty neat stuff. And the last campaign of the month is Tame. This ran on IndieGoGo. What this device is for is it's a machine you stick into your TV so that you can you'd be working on your laptop, whatever your laptop image is, shows on the TV that this is plugged into. And by TV, I mean TV, monitor, other computer, and so forth. The image and the audio both can be sent up to the big TV. Very practical idea, and gets rid of a lot of the wires that are kind of an annoyance for everyone. They did a really good job of explaining the multiple benefits, the multiple uses of this product. In some campaigns, you'd think it would be obvious the different things you use it for, but a lot of the campaigns don't really go through the steps of showing you what you can use it for, and I think that was well done in this particular case. They had a nice comparison chart that compares this answer to this question to some of the other alternatives that are out there. And they had two interesting options. One was for corporate use. You could buy 10 of them and have your logo stamped into the device for like gifts or things for your salesman or something. And they had a pack of 100 units for people that wanted to become a reseller. So if you wanted to resell this device, you could buy the 100 pack, get a good discount, and sell them on the open market. That's our show for January of 2014. Be sure to watch our next show approximately a month from now, covering February. Hopefully that will have a lot of very interesting information about equity crowdfunding. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you next time.